Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me join your virtual career day. My name is Jonathan Tavares. I work as a structural engineer at the American Institute of Steel Construction, or AISC for short. I was born and raised in El Paso. I went to UTEP for my bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and I now live and work in Chicago, Illinois. My dream job was actually always to design my own roller coasters and eventually design my own theme park and to own my own theme park. So, in a way, I had always kind of known that I wanted to be a civil engineer ever since I was very little. So, in a nutshell, civil engineering makes sure that daily life runs smoothly for the public. That's you. So civil engineers make sure that the roads and bridges and buildings are all designed safely. And even beyond that too, they make sure that we have clean and safe drinking water. They look for ways to combat climate change. And of course, they make sure that sewage has a place to go. My specialty personally is structures. So I mainly focus on buildings and bridges. And at AISC, we specifically work to make sure that steel is being designed safely and reliably for all sorts of different hazards, such as earthquakes, tornadoes, and even blasts. For my position, I not only needed a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, but I also needed to get my master's degree in order to specialize in structural engineering. I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign for my master's, and that's actually how I ended up here in Chicago. That university is a couple hours away from Chicago. Typically for my role, they look for people who not only have both degrees, bachelor's and master's in structural engineering, but people with some engineering experience. So luckily I did have a couple of years experience working for another company doing structural design work for nuclear power plants across the country. So what makes my job exciting? It's always changing. There's always something new to look at. We always hear about new problems and crazy things going on all around the world. But we also get to learn about how engineers are working to fix those problems as well. We also get to see behind the scenes, and write some of the codes and standards that engineers all over the world need to use in order to design with steel. A fun fact about my career, so I have actually had the privilege of meeting, on a few occasions, I got to meet the chief structural engineer for the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. Their office is actually not too far from ours. We've had several events with him. He's a very nice guy, brilliant man. So that was a really humbling experience, and just being able to work with other geniuses around the country is a really humbling experience. Being able to hear some of their stories and to learn from their experience. So one obstacle that I've encountered when I moved to Illinois to start my master's degree, it was very, very hard at first. I actually got very bad grades my first semester. It was a shock. It was a culture shock. It was, going to a different kind of school, and the content itself was much, much harder than I was ever used to. So there was a lot to adapt to. And unfortunately, because of that, I actually lost out on a student job opportunity that would have paid for my whole school. It would have been amazing, but I unfortunately lost out on that opportunity. But this was a really important learning experience for me. It pushed me to buckle down and get better grades the rest of my time there. And I actually graduated with my master's just fine. I got a decent GPA. It wasn't the best, but it was decent. And I was actually very, very proud that I was able to get myself out of the situation that I put myself in and to graduate in good standing. So I am actually not in my office. Otherwise, I would have shown you my office space and walked you around the office a little bit. But Because of COVID, of course, we're working from home a few days out of the week. But I have sent over a few pictures to your teacher that show my office building and the space around it. We have such beautiful views of Lake Michigan, of Millennium Park, and of course the rest of downtown Chicago. It's a beautiful space. I love working there. I just really don't like having to trudge through the snow to get downtown now, but it is what it is. Anyway, that is all that I have for now. Thank you so much again for your time and for listening. I hope you found this somewhat interesting. I'm always happy to answer any questions that you may have. Please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much again.